to you build a relationship outside of the room as well. With that, I would like to ask my co-moderator, Sandy, to set the rules for the room. Sandy, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Hong. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Asian American Network. Today's event is a total of 1 hour. The first session is the guest sharing, and it will be recorded. We will stop the recording when we open Q&A after the guest sharing. Please feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions or if you want to echo or make a comment. We will invite you to the stage. Please follow us by clicking the greenhouse beside the club logo. You will get the event detail information after we post it each time. So this event is presented by Silicon Valley Innovation Channel, Ding TV, and the Mentoring Club. About the Ding TV, in the past 12 years, we have been focusing on branding, building, and innovation, and connecting entrepreneurs and venture capitalists. We host more than 80 events every year. So we also have a 4,000 square feet professional studio for rent in Santa Clara. It can be the video program or film production venue, and it's also good for small events. So please contact us if you are interested. So this is Sandy, I'm done speaking. I'm going to pass the microphone to Lisa to introduce the mentoring club. Thank you. Lisa, please.
Thank you, Sandy. And hi again, everyone. So I am Lisa Mendoza, and I am the founder of the Mentoring Club. And thank you, Diana, Sandy, and Hong for this collaboration to put together the Asian Americans Network Room on Clubhouse. So the Mentoring Club is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our mission is to provide a mentoring community for aspiring and seasoned leaders. Anywhere in the world, we help working people find mentors who can guide them to develop the skills they need to achieve their career and life goals. And we help mentees fulfill their goals through meaningful work that creates positive impact in the world. As mentees become leaders, our dream is for them mentors to others. So if you are in that stage of giving back as mentors, please consider joining our community. And if you are in that stage where you're trying to navigate your career and you're looking for mentors, please do join our community as well. Thank you. Back to you, Sandy and Hong.
All right. So with the reset now, I would like to start introducing our speaker tonight, as well as the topic for tonight. So first of all, the speaker. Our speaker tonight is Homer Swei. Homer is an outspoken supporter of new talent, helping Asian professionals live and lead vibrant careers. And that's going to be our topic for tonight as well. So he's a prolific diversity, equity, and inclusion champion, a leader of corporate employee resource groups, a long-standing member of Asians Are Visible Clubhouse business roundtables. That's another Clubhouse room. Homer is a scientist, an artist, and a consumer advocate. He's Director of Product Stewardship for consumer products at Johnson & Johnson, managing ingredients for the company's consumer products worldwide across their entire life cycle. Homer was born in South Korea and raised in California and Missouri. He holds a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from University of California at Berkeley and a PhD in chemical engineering and material science from Northwestern University. Homer is married, has 2 children, and lives in faraway New Jersey. And the topic for tonight is leaning into your strengths. You can read leaning into your strengths, but it's actually leaning into your strengths. And welcome to the room to hear Homer share his journey and his passion. He will be encouraging you to pursue yours. And he he will also be the first to warn you that there is no single recipe for everyone, of course. With that, I would like to invite Homer to introduce yourself before I start asking the first questions for Homer to kickstart the topic and then open up the room. So Homer, please introduce yourself. Welcome and thanks for joining us.
Who's this guy you introduced? I don't recognize him. Hey folks, I like the tag Homer and Home. I think that's a good team. Anyway, guys, I think my story is fairly typical of my generation coming over and becoming successful in corporate America. 30 years there, and I'm at the tail end of my career now. So I'm a lot of people have helped me on my way, and I'm now trying to help others, to get back to the community. So that's why I'm on Clubhouse. That's why I'm here, and that's why I'm, trying to find ways to use my energies in a different way. But anyway, thank you, Hong, Liesel, and Diana for inviting me here. I think this is going to be an interesting conversation. Let's see where it goes. All right, back to you all.
Great, thank you, Homer. Homer is too kind and humble. So tonight we're going to be talking about leaning into your strengths. And what are we talking about? We are talking about vibrant careers. Okay. So my first question to Homer is this: what is a vibrant career? Can that be defined?
Yeah, it's interesting. So look, I once heard somebody say that you'll have like 3 stages of working. Well, the first stage is to make an income. The second stage is to be satisfied or feel good about what you've done, and the last one is to have an impact. I think if you do all 3 of these things, then you have a vibrant career. That's how I define it. If you can find a way to make a living, be successful at that, and then give back to those who need your help, that is a vibrant career. What do you think? Does that make sense?
Wow, what a great definition. I think this is with Liesel setting up her mentoring club, to grow future leaders. This is quite inspirational and for us, for that matter. Thanks for sharing that. So with that, a career that's vibrant, that first of all generate incomes in the early stage, and then to be satisfied, probably because the person in that career performs and has proud accomplishments or something, and then in the later years to widen and generalize the impact to society, positive impact to society. Now, that doesn't just come automatically, right? Can you share with us? I mean, with your experience, your experience building vibrant careers, what does it take for somebody to arrive at a vibrant career? What does it take to grow vibrant careers and hold these people from your experience?
Yeah, what a great question. We could probably be here for hours. We'd probably write a book about
just a kickstart. Yeah, just a kickstart, whet the appetite.
Yeah, so this thing about leaning into your strengths actually came from an interview I gave within the company. And what I was trying to share was the way we grow is a little bit strange within companies and even outside of companies. It's much better for you to understand what you like to do, and what you are strong at, what your natural tendencies are and strengths are, and to continually focus on those elements and build a career around that, and make those be the very best at whatever that is. Instead of saying that, but you're strong at this, but you're weak at this other thing, and for you to try to focus on your weakness, that's not a real good recipe for success. In fact, I think that's a recipe for mediocrity, right? The reason I say that is, I keep emphasizing that business or whatever you're talking about not an individual sport; it's a team sport. So it's much more beneficial and more effective. If I'm good at science, for example, and I'm not good at accounting, unless you want to learn accounting, I'm not denigrating those areas, but it's much easier for me to find somebody who's a great accountant and for us to help each other and become better as a small team and continue to do that over and over again. If you believe in this concept, then what you have to do is become the best whatever you are, so you can complement the other person, the best point guard, the best salesperson, or whatever. And since you already enjoy doing that, you're going to be much happier doing it, and you'll be much more successful doing it as well. I think that's part of it, right? Just to understand who you are, what you like to do, and where you're headed. I also tell people that I like to look at careers in terms of decades. The first decade, you're just trying to figure out how the business runs and all the rules, spoken and unspoken rules. Make as many mistakes as you can, try to rotate as much as you can. You're just trying to figure out who you are. And in the second decade, I tell folks, now it's time for you to declare major, so to speak. For you to be the very best, whatever it is, so if I think of something that, I know the perfect person for you, he's the best interviewer that I can think of, and make a name for yourself, right? In the third decade, your focus should be to try to change the business, trying to change the business model, all those other things that are make the business or make whatever you're doing, the organization much, much better. If you are lucky enough to get into the fourth decade, which I am now it's time for you to build leaders to give back to the community, give back. So I think these are two different ways to understand how to move in the right direction of careers. There's one last thing I want to share with you is to be fully successful. You probably want to move in an area where the business is growing, strong and growing, or the career is strong and growing, whatever. You probably don't want to be in an area where it's shrinking. Your options are more limited in that space. So, in terms of finding a career, you do have to make some guesses in terms of where do you think the company is moving, and where do you think that if that area is growing or not, either inside the company or as an industry, and try to go there. If you do that, you have many more options than industries that are shrinking. Think Kodak and all the ones that are no longer here, right? You probably don't want to be the best person at Kodak because they no longer exist today. Well, not in the same fashion as it was before. Does that make sense? Some ideas for you.
Brilliant. Thanks for sharing that. Oh, absolutely. I think this is so very important for all the folks that for their own career. I mean, whether at whatever stage for that matter. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, this is you're showing the path, right? The whole journey, the map of the journey, and what we should do. With that, I mean, this is so very relevant nowadays. It was already relevant pre-COVID, right? When people already talked about the fact that technology and all kinds of things are disrupting every single industry. You mentioned Kodak, for example, and that's accelerating. So companies have to think about it. And nowadays, with COVID now, deep in COVID, now we have this great resignation phenomenon upon all these companies, right? And they have to think about it. So can you share with us your thoughts about what can companies do, not just individuals about their own career, which is you shared brilliantly just now. What can companies do to or facilitate or do something so that their employees have a better chance of developing, a vibrant career? Can the companies do anything about it?
This is another one we can spend a lot of time on as well. Great questions. Yeah, I've been hearing the same thing. The great rotation is about to come to us because of we have learned through COVID that you no longer need to be in the office, or at least not 100% of the time. You know, they have different ways to connect. And the rules are being rewritten again. I think companies have a tremendous role to play. One thing I don't like is the way that they put people in boxes. You know, so I struggle with this. You know, I want a way for companies to utilize your full mind. Have lots of experiences you can utilize, but you know, I'm not a title, right? I'm not a accountant or salesperson. There's many more things I can give to the company if you allow it. I've created something. You know, if you look online, you might see this. There's a little blurb from J&J. For example, I've seen people come together and really advance when they start innovating. It's something that's natural within most of us. And then when you get people together to innovate, it breaks down almost all walls, diversity walls, whatever you want to call it, because you're moving in a similar direction. I created something in our company I call idea proofs. It's based on a concept that Amazon uses. They call it reverse innovation. And it's really fascinating what's happening here. So before you start a project, pretend like you finished that project, and then write a press release about what happened, and then send this press release to the senior management, and then have them look at it, and then have them decide whether this should be a project or not. This reverse innovation fundamentally resets the way they think. So notice in this situation that any project is already pre-aligned. These concepts are coming from employees from everywhere, left or right in the company. And the ability to translate something into a brief is really fascinating. I call the brief a universal language that almost everybody can understand it. You know, comms can understand it, marketing can understand it, consumer, everybody can understand what a press release is. But the idea of a company unleashing its employees to do things together, I think that has to be the key. You know, we're not a function. We're not a title. We're all aimed at trying to get something done within companies or even outside of the companies. The ability to create that team and have them deliver and then reassemble teams left and right, independent of titles, is probably the future.
Right. Wow. Yeah, a great aspiration there. For that, this is something I ponder on myself, and I wonder if there's any convenient answer. Maybe there is none yet. But the sort of the holy grail is there a way to somehow pull a team together and see, and have a rating of match, right? That is, this person, that other person, given their experience or skill level, they will form a great team. Is there a possibility of doing that without a huge amount of time and investment in knowing each person?
Yeah, Hong, another good question. So look, one time I took this executive training course. It was about what the heck was this? About executive presence and all that type of thing, if you want to call it that. And we had a team and we had to innovate. And at the very end, I went to the creators of the training course. These were all professionals. I said, you created this team with a specific purpose, right? Because this team felt very, very different. And they admit to me, yeah, they did. And I said, what did you do exactly? He said, we used Myers-Briggs, and we intentionally populated team based on different personality types. So every one of those types was represented, and you can feel the difference in how things work. Opposite personality types are bridged by those personality types are halfway in between, and the team worked very, very well. And so, I think if we get mature enough that we intentionally create teams based on skill sets, personality types, experience levels, we'll be much, much smarter, going forward. The other bit of research is quite interesting, Hong, is the most successful teams seem to be a mixture. The research suggests seem to be a mixture of some folks that have worked together in the past, let's say half of the group, and then half of it are newcomers who don't know this area. It seems to be that's a good tension, harmonic tension, a balance between new ideas and old ideas pushing against each other when you form a team like this. But I do think you're onto something. The 21st century will be about small teams and how you put them together and how they deliver. I think that's probably where everything is headed towards.
Right.
Let's write a book.
Yes, I'm going to extract a few books out of you today. That's my intention. Thanks so much. Yeah, brilliant sharing here. Really appreciate it. I wanted, very good. I'm going to change a little bit abruptly and talk about something else. So you're talking about, the full person, right? Full engagement for person to, for their career and also to form teams. So I think you talked about people's mind, and you distinguish the critical mind from the creative mind. So you basically are saying you want people to show up with both minds, right? So can you share with us a little bit about that two aspects of a full person to come and contribute with their creative mind and their critical mind? How does that play out? Can we discuss about it more than just the concept, the pure high level concept? Can you share with us your insights?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you and I have been reading the same books. So look, yeah, you do need both the critical mind and the creative mind, but not at the same time. That's the issue. The most creative folks, the most innovative folks, what they can do is separate their minds. So they can only focus on the creative mind and then have the critical mind work later on and go back and forth like this. Otherwise, you go in circles, right? So I've also incorporated this into this idea of proof concept that I shared with you earlier. Every meeting is separated into two halves for me. The first half is to use that creative mind first, and then on the second half, then we focus on the critical mind, the criticism, the building of the idea or the of the project. But the key is you need both, but you have to separate them and let get people used to this duality. First this and then that. It works very, very well, guys. I've done this for many, many years, and once the team understand how this is working, they instantly will accept it. But anyway, if you do this, you do use your full mind, and that's what you want, your full mind.
Right. Understood. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. For the leader or facilitator to get everybody full engagement, they need to plan this out to literally get the most out of each person. Understood. Thanks. But nowadays, especially nowadays, right, that a lot of things happen remotely or online, like we do now, or on Zoom. Most of us now know Zoom back and forth. in terms of how do we capture and share with us? I mean, there's no single way, of course. Best get people to cooperate, capture their ideas, have them work on those ideas and think further, and then have build new versions of it and build upon it, right? Can you comment a bit about technology and tools? Are they important? And can you share some experience with us?
Oh man, this is another big can of worms you've opened up. So look, I think some people are either they fall in love with technology or they're afraid of technology. Either. Do you guys remember the chess wars? Do you remember IBM Watson trying to beat up, the famous, I don't know, was it Kasparov or one of these grand champions?
Right, Kasparov. Right. Yeah.
Remember that?
The last one. Yeah.
Yeah. Every year the computers would get closer and closer, and then couldn't beat it. And then one year, all of a sudden, it flipped, and then the computers can beat the grand champions, every game. But I don't know if you guys understood what happened afterwards. The way that chess is played today is fundamentally shifted. So what happens now is the grandmasters, what they do is it's one person with their laptop playing against another person with their laptop. So it's human and machine working together. And I think that is the future. So computers won't replace us, but they will be. You can imagine every profession having an iPad or something next to them so they can access a lot of information, right? But the issue is we're still people, and we need to find a way to build relationships, and technology doesn't do that very well, right? So even with Zoom and all these other things, I share with other folks. While I see the productivity and efficiency of people improve a lot in many cases. It's not the same thing with teams. I think the efficiency of teams has gone way down with Zoom and others. Everything is a meeting. You don't have water coolers. You don't have these drive-by conversations, walk-by conversations that, and the ability to develop a new relationship is really, really difficult. Just think about dating, how hard it is to find someone to date, right? That's the next frontier, though. How can we do what people do best and let the computer do what the computer does best, and not fool ourselves with, that one can do the job of another, and then together, just trying to move the needle. So, look, sometimes it's best just to pick up the phone and call somebody, and sometimes it's better just to Zoom somebody. There's no perfect answer here. We'll have to learn how to do this. Everybody's a bit different. But unless you have the people connection, it just doesn't go very far. I mean, look at the title here, your Asian Americans Network. The network is key, right? So you and I have connected through here, but unless we meet face to face or continue the relationship, it doesn't go that far. It can only go so far.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. At the end of the question, I have one very last one. Unless you want to add something before we open up the room for everybody to chime in. One last thing is, Asian Americans Network. What we designed the room to be is for people to come together and share their stories. So, can you comment on that about establishing relationships? Now, of course, we haven't met in person, and that's a minus, right? And yet, does it help to be sharing stories? So I'd like to get your thought on that one.
Yeah, look, still the way you communicate is one of the best ways to communicate is through storytelling. I mean, we're hardwired for this. Let me tell you a story. You're going to lean in right immediately, And sharing lessons through stories is still one of the more sophisticated ways of speaking. So we definitely need to do this. But it's not. How should I say this? Asians have a little bit of a. Well, I'm stereotyping a little bit, but we have a little bit of a cultural issue, right? Not only Asians, but minorities and lots of different groups. We're taught to work twice as hard and maybe get a little bit less on the back end, right? But if you use the network correctly, I think there are many ways to work less and get more impact, make it more impact on the back end. And I know one of your questions was, what is one of the lessons learned if I can do things over again? I think I would have spent a little less time doing and a little more time sharing what I did.
What a nugget there. Yeah, less doing and more sharing. Great. Thanks. With that, to the first part of tonight. I'm going to ask my co-moderator Sandy to reset room before we open up the room. And with that, Sandy is going to let you know that we will stop recording. Sandy, please reset the room. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Hong. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Asian American Network. And I really appreciate Homer for your sharing today. And I know it's a little bit too late in your time. So we are going to stop the recording and open the Q&A. Please feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions or if you want to make a comment. We will invite you to the stage. So please follow us by clicking the greenhouse beside the club logo. You will get the event detail information after we post it each time. So this is Sandy.